Assalamu alaikum. So today we are going back uh, to business model canvas. How many you still remember that something which we discussed? Business model canvas. Yes, no. Some part of it, not all. Great, Usman Khaled. Salame Jamil. Thanks. Some of the keynotes, Abdur Rahman. Okay, who can volunteer that how this 6 digit has gone so far? A very quick one, and raise your hand and I'll unmute you, and then you can share what are the top three learnings you can share so far. What happened in your life? So raise your hand and I can unmute you. Anyone brave enough? Okay, Mohammed Rafi. Uh, Rafi, you can unmute yourself. Yeah, please.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam.
So for me, one of the main skills that I learned was the presentation skills and the case analysis. For me, it was something that is constantly that takes place in the workplace, and for a lot of people, like that is something that we don't experience until we get to the workplace itself. So it takes us like through a steeper learning curve where we take time to adapt to how to make changes and present ourselves in the best possible manner. And for me, going through these complex case studies with the group made me realize that how much there's an importance placed on teamwork itself.
Great.
And one of the other skills that I learned was basically communication, since I think it's a very underrated skill because communication can like easily like build up or even break down a team, and communicating and going through problems with my teammates made it very made it a very valuable learning experience. So yeah, that's it.
Thank, thank you, Rafi. Just building upon that, were you aware of that? These are the areas you need to really develop.
Sorry,
Were
I
you
didn't get that.
aware of that? That the presentation skill and the communication skill is the one of area you need to develop?
For me, it's like I know that these are areas that are required professionally, but you don't know like what's your current level until you really go deep into a skill. So when I experienced presentation and all these skills for myself, I realized my shortcomings, and yeah, I had to like self-review myself to improve.
Okay. Thank you, Rafi. And Usman Khalid, you said no. No means uh, to the question that you were not aware of it. Usman, the excuses part. Okay, great. Uh, I think one of the fundamental thing, and here we are talking about the skill right now when we talk about the communication, we talk about presentation, we talk about financial analysis, and in some area we look at the tools as well. So these are the fundamental things which you have gone through, but these are still this either a skill or it's a tool. The fundamental thing which we started way earlier in the beginning of the session is around the mindset, the self-awareness. You can benchmark yourself or your skills or your expertise on the certain tools with with something else, either externally with your peers or just a benchmark. You can Google it, that what is the right level, which given your age and skill and the profession you are in, what is expected out of you. So I think the one area which we always stress is to stay or develop a mindset which can generate a continuous learning, continuous self-awareness, continuous accountability, and you can handle yourself better. So ये नहीं होता कि आपको कोई और आके बताएगा, जिंदगी में ये मौके हमेशा नहीं मिलते आपको. Thank you, Abdullah Wahab, for your comment. It's around make effective decision making, some interview skill, business skills, and business understanding. Great, but जिंदगी में आपको ये चीज बार बार नहीं मिलेगी. सो इस चीज के लिए आपको खुद को तैयार करना है कि आपने अपने आप को कैसे हैंडल करना है. How you will hold yourself accountable and create a plan to really overcome something which you want to. जब तक आप उस माइंडसेट में नहीं जाएंगे, आज का स्किल सेट, फॉर एग्जांपल आज के आपने प्रेजेंटेशन की बात की, यू माइट हैव लर्न सम ऑफ द पावर पॉइंट. आपने कम्युनिकेशन की बात की, जो आपके करंट इन्वायरमेंट में जो कम्युनिकेशन के मीडियम्स हैं, आपने उसको यूज कर लिया. गोइंग फॉरवर्ड 10 years और इवन आज पावर पॉइंट एक ऑब्सलीट टूल है. अगर आज के दौर में आप देखेंगे, इससे बहुत बहुत बेहतर टूल्स अवेलेबल है. बहुत इफेक्टिव किस्म के प्रेजेंटेशन के लिए वो टूल सारे के सारे जो है पीपल आर यूजिंग दैट. और उसमें 3D व्यू और इस तरह के बहुत से व्यूज आप जनरेट कर सकते हैं जो शायद पावर पॉइंट की लिमिटेशन है. बट एट द सेम टाइम पावर पॉइंट इज अ वाइडली एक्सेप्टेड वन. क्या 5 साल बाद पावर पॉइंट उतना ही एक्सेप्टेड होगा? So these are the questions you need to ask. So what you need to develop is 5 साल बाद अगर पावर पॉइंट या ये presentations जो हैं, it's change its form and shape, how you gonna handle yourself, not the tool. How you gonna convince yourself कि आपने अब एक continuous learning mode में रहना. So those are the important area. Self awareness, and again जब हम self awareness की बात करते हैं ना, तो it's not a stagnant thing, because आप change हो रहे होते हैं. आप over the period you evolve. आज आप एक रोल में हैं and then your role change. Today you might be an employee, tomorrow you might be a husband or wife, or you might be a mother or father. So आपके roles evolve होंगे. But that's mean हर रोल में आपने exist करना है और excel करना है. आप बेटे हैं, बेटी हैं, बहन, भाई, mother, father, दोस्त. So there are multiple roles you exist in. How you are going to reconcile your own character and build something जहाँ पे हर कोई identify कर सके कि this is either Abdul Wahab or Murtaza or Nimra or Rafe. How you really going to do that part? So those are the important element कि आपका अपना character जो है, how you gonna build that one, कि आप किसी भी role में हो, आपके fundamental character में कोई difference नहीं आ रहा हो. अगर आप as a parent you want to learn something, you can. You use the same motivation and energy to become a better parent. Or if you are an employee or if you are working with a client, then you should be working in a way that they can recognize that you are making an effort and doing your best, and then you are delivering that impact or result. Marcia, you raise your hand, so you can unmute yourself if you want to add something there.
Yes, I don't want to take too much time. I just want to use some hashtags. Am I allowed?
Gigi, please go ahead.
Yeah, I like very much all those sessions, and all these session makes me conclude towards hashtag stay positive and hashtag think ahead. That's what my views on this.
No, thank you, Marcia. You bring us to a very interesting point. अब देखिए, मुर्तजा ने अपने लिए डिटरमिन किया कि whenever he is in a situation, he can use these two hashtag and it can remind Murtaza what the character Murtaza should be representing here as a Murtaza Hussaini, right? Who Murtaza is. Similarly, last time मैंने भी आपसे कुछ वो sentences या कुछ questions share किए थे which helped me, like what else is a one of a question, what and why are the question, is it the best I can do are the question. So that helped me to really define and exist in a different role by challenging myself and bringing myself to the core. वो होता है ना, आप अलाइनमेंट खराब हो जाती है तो कुछ सवाल, कुछ हैशटैग्स आपकी लैंग्वेज में अगर मैं बात करूं तो दोज ब्रिंग यू बैक. और अगर आप अपनी अलाइनमेंट बार बार चेक नहीं करेंगे तो द पीपल who know the driving, whether you are driving a bike or you're driving a bicycle or a car, अगर आपकी व्हील्स की अलाइनमेंट सही नहीं होगी तो इट विल स्टिल टेक यू देयर, लेकिन जब तक आप वहां पहुंचेंगे तो आपकी बहुत सी अननेसेसरी एनर्जी वेस्ट हो चुकी होगी और डैमेज हो चुकी होंगे. मिनिमम टायर डैमेज हो चुके होंगे, और अगर आप ज्यादा देर मिस अलाइन फॉर्म में चलते रहेंगे तो बहुत ही अजीबोगरीब किस्म की आपकी राइड होगी. यू विल नॉट एंजॉय दैट. लेकिन अगर उसके बजाय यू टेक अ स्टेप बैक एंड यू अलाइन योरसेल्फ, आप अपने कोर के साथ अपने आप को अलाइन कर लेते हैं ना, तो यू विल एंजॉय द राइड एंड यू विल नॉट क्रिएट अ डैमेज, राइट, टू योर ओन सेल्फ, राइट. सो वो अलाइनमेंट बहुत जरूरी होती है. और उस अलाइनमेंट के लिए बहुत आसान तरीका ये होता है कि आप अपने लिए कुछ सवाल ढूंढ लेते हैं, कुछ हैशटैग ढूंढ लेते हैं, और जब भी वो हैशटैग या सवाल आपके पास वापस आते हैं वो आपको दोबारा अलाइनमेंट की साइड पे फोर्स करना शुरू कर देते हैं. और ये प्रोसेस बार बार चलता रहेगा, ये कभी खत्म नहीं होगा. सो माइंडसेट, गोइंग बैक टू दैट, आपका वो माइंडसेट होता है, वो ऑप्टिमिज्म होता है जो आपको ड्राइव करता है लाइफ में. जब हम बिजनेस मॉडल कैनवस की भी बात, अभी हम बिजनेस मॉडल कैनवस पे आते हैं, बट बिफोर गोइंग टू दैट, रोल मॉडल, हमने बड़े शुरू में कुछ रोल मॉडल्स की बात की थी. एनीबडी हु कैन who can just type their role model. Who is your role model? In a question tab, if you can type your role models. So your brother, Rafi, anybody else? Your father, Nimra? Usman, you don't know me. My uncle, Zishan. Okay. And Nimra, okay. Nimra, if I can ask you, and if you can come and share with us why your father is your role model. Nimra, if you can raise your hand, we can unmute you. Ji Nimra, you can unmute yourself.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. So
Sir,
why your father is your role model?
because उन्होंने मुझे हमेशा सिखाया कि सच बोलना है और हमेशा हर डिफिकल्टी में ऑप्टिमिज्म रहना है और स्ट्रांग रहना है. क्योंकि जब मैं एसीसी की जर्नी में थी तो मेरा पेपर जो फेल हुआ तो मैं बहुत ज़्यादा लो फील कर रही थी. तो उन्होंने मुझे कहा कि डोंट यू वरी एंड स्टे पॉजिटिव एंड गो अहेड. तो फिर उसके बाद मेरा पेपर पास हो गया. तो हमेशा उन्होंने मुझे मोटिवेट किया है और बैकअप किया है.
And what about the people, like his interaction with other people? Like you are daughter, definitely he
Yes.
care about you. What about his dealing with other people who are not
सेम सेम. अगर वो किसी को देखेंगे कि कोई मुसीबत में है तो वो हमेशा उसको मोटिवेट करके उसको बैकअप करके कहेंगे कोई मसला ही कोई नहीं है.
So
उन्होंने मुझे एक एग्जांपल दी थी, अगर मैं शेयर करना चाहूँ
जी
तो
जी please.
वो पेस्टिसाइड्स में है माशाल्लाह. उनका मतलब सोल प्रोप्राइटर है. तो उन्होंने बताया था कि मैं एक जगह गया तो वहां पे एक चूंटी, मतलब चूंटी नहीं थी वो, मतलब पेस्ट ही थी. तो वो बार बार गंदम को खराब करने के लिए आई थी, कपास थी या गंदम मुझे पता नहीं है. तो वो कह रहे थे कि वो 15 टाइम्स, मैं उसको 15 मिनट तक देखता रहा और वो बार बार उतरती और चढ़ती उतरती, गिर रही थी. उतरना चढ़ना नहीं था, मतलब वो चल 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 के ऊपर जाती और फिर दोबारा नीचे गिर जाती. तो मेरे फादर कहते कि मैं उसको 15 मिनट्स तक देखता रहा और उसने हार नहीं मानी. तो उन्होंने मुझे जब एग्जांपल दी तो उन्होंने कहा कि वो चींटी, वो एक पेस्ट था. तो वो आप तो फिर अशरफुल मखलूकात हो, तो इसलिए अल्लाह ताला पे भरोसा रखो, तो हमेशा कभी भी मायूस नहीं होना. ये सिखाया था उन्होंने मुझे. तो बहुत अच्छी एग्जांपल उन्होंने दी थी, तो इसलिए मैंने कहा आपसे शेयर कर लूं.
No, thank you Nimra, and I'll hold some comment. आपने दो चार बड़े अच्छे पॉइंट रेज किए हैं. but I can see Rafi and Murtaza have raised hand as well. So
Okay,
Rafi,
thank you,
you want to
sir.
add something? Thank you, Nimra. And we will come back. मेरे पास आपके 2-3 points हैं which I will be sharing.
Okay, sure, I'll wait.
Rafi, you want to share something, or Murtaza, you want to share something?
Hello, sir. I want to share something. I
जी
have a
जी
little
please
bit
please.
time of 30 seconds. Uh, I want to say that I love the choosing that I shared in the comment, and I love him by my heart and by my soul. So that's why I chose him to be my role model. And there are many other factors, and don't want to disclose it because everyone's I think know a little bit about it. And thank you for this session. I think my another event is started, so I want
Yeah,
to
no, I
leave.
can.
So thank you very much.
Thank you,
Allah
Murtaza.
Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Thank you, Murtaza. And going back to Nimra's point, I think there are two things if you pick up from that example. Uh, the one thing, Nimra's father is a role model for Nimra because it create a value for Nimra, right? So वो अपने लिए वैल्यू की बात नहीं कर रहे उनके फादर. He is helping Nimra to create a value for herself. But at the same time, that character does not change. If it's not Nimra, if somebody else, it's the same character, it's the same motivation which he will be providing to that person who may not be related. So जब भी आप किसी रोल मॉडल को देखेंगे जहां पे बहुत सी एग्जांपल्स हमने यहाँ पे देखी, आपने ब्रदर की बात की, आपने फादर्स की बात आई, अंकल्स की बात आई, and even if we go beyond that, we go with the national heroes and we go with the हमारे जो शोहदा हैं, अजीज भट्टी शहीद की आप बात कर लें, राशिद मनास की बात कर लें, कायद आजम की बात कर लें, नेल्सन मंडेला ले लें, ईदी ले लें, मदर ट्रेसा ले लें, pick up anybody and you will find that they are creating a value for somebody. Arshia Yusuf is talking about Imran Khan as well for his continuous struggle that he never gives up. So, yeah, you can pick up anybody and you will figure out anybody who's doing something of value, it's not for themselves. They are always trying to create value for someone else. And they do it selflessly and they do it across the board. उसमें एक इंसाफ का एलिमेंट होता है. What they are doing for like people around them, they are doing exactly the same in a different situation with the people who did जिनको शायद वो जानते भी नहीं होंगे, right? So that's the core thing, and people are willing to take those guys as a role model. आपको बहुत कम रोल मॉडल मिलेंगे जिसमें एक बड़ा सेल्फिश इंटरेस्ट होगा, जिसमें किसी दूसरे के लिए वैल्यू नहीं होगी, राइट? बहुत कम आपको लोग ऐसे मिलेंगे जो ऐसे ऐसे लोगों को अपना रोल मॉडल लेके गिन रहे हैं. Now come to the business side. जब आप किसी बिजनेस मॉडल की भी बात करते हैं ना, तो the business model can only work if you are creating a value for someone. अगर आप किसी के लिए वैल्यू क्रिएट नहीं कर रहे हैं ना, तो that business model is not going to work because you don't want आपका उसमें बिजनेस जब आप रन कर रहे होते हैं, उस वैल्यू क्रिएशन मैकेनिज्म में लोग आप ये नहीं चाह रहे होते कि लोग आपको रोल मॉडल क्रिएट कर लें. आप ये चाह रहे होते हैं कि पीपल शुड बी पेइंग फॉर द सर्विस और सोल्यूशन यू आर गिविंग देम, आइदर टू सस्टेन और आइदर टू मेक मनी, राइट? सो अगर आप अपनी लाइफ में जर्नल रोल मॉडल देखेंगे तो आपको एक ही चीज नजर आएगी, दे हैव क्रिएटेड अ वैल्यू. इसी तरह जो सक्सेसफुल बिजनेसेस हैं, आप उनमें जब भी देखेंगे तो दे आर क्रिएटिंग वैल्यू फॉर देयर कस्टमर्स. और अगर उनकी कस्टमर सेगमेंट और कस्टमर बेस बहुत बड़ी होगी तो उसके अगेंस्ट जो रिटर्न उनको मिल रहा होगा वो भी उसी प्रोपोर्शन में मिल रहा होगा. सो दे माइट बी एबल टू चार्ज अ वेरी स्मॉल अमाउंट बट जस्ट शेयर वॉल्यूम विल ड्राइव द बिजनेस इन अ डिफरेंट वे. एंड अगर आपके पास वो बड़ा छोटा सा कस्टमर सेगमेंट है, देन यू हैव टू सी द प्राइसिंग, कि आपकी प्राइसिंग और जो कॉस्ट है वो किस हद तक है और कितनी सस्टेनेबल है. सो दिस इज द फंडामेंटल रिलेशनशिप. जब भी आप किसी चीज को पसंद करते हैं तो उसकी परसीव्ड वैल्यूज जो है ना, जो परसीव्ड वैल्यू वो डिलीवर कर रहा है, दैट इज वे हायर देन समथिंग यू आर विलिंग टू पे और द एफर्ट यू आर गोइंग टू मेक. राफी का एक क्वेश्चन है, डू यू फील द रोल मॉडल शुड बी बेस्ड ऑन द सक्सेस और ऑन समवन्स वैल्यू? देखिए, role models are not something you choose based on a certain criteria. The role model you choose to follow the footstep. So it's not about the model you are or role model you are talking about. It's what kind of life and the success or the values you want to carry. Role model सिर्फ help ये करता है कि वो आपको उसको as a example, as a benchmark use करने के लिए you get something to really refer to. So there are a lot of people जिनके लिए Hitler role model होगा. There is a part of the world which will hate Hitler, right? They are perspective where why Hitler was right and their perspective why Hitler was wrong. So it's all about the perspective. So आपके लिए ये है कि what you want to become, what you want people to remember you once you are not there. आप अगर एक कमरे से बाहर निकलते हैं तो उस कमरे में बैठे हुए लोग आपके मुतालिक क्या सोचें, क्या गुफ्तगू करें और क्यों करें, आपने उनको वो रीजंस देनी है. रोल मॉडल मेक इट इजियर क्योंकि आप किसी चीज को रेप्लिकेट कर रहे होते हैं, कॉपी पेस्ट कर लेते हैं. बहुत सी चीजें आप कॉपी पेस्ट कर लेते हैं और सब्सिक्वेंटली इवॉल्व कर लेते हैं. सो इट मेक लाइफ इजियर. ये टास्क ड्रिवन नहीं होता रोल मॉडल, अब्दुल वहाब. डेफिनेटली टास्क इट कैन हेल्प यू बट देन यू विल नॉट हैव अ सिंगल पाथ. क्योंकि अगर आप एक सिंगल रोल मॉडल नहीं रखेंगे ना, या एक या दो की रोल मॉडल्स नहीं रखेंगे, तो फिर आप टास्क की बेस पे जब अपने रोल मॉडल्स देखना शुरू करेंगे तो वो रोल मॉडल आपको इंस्पायर करते हैं और वो रोल मॉडल आपकी पूरी लाइफ को इंस्पायर कर रहे होते हैं. और वहां पे आपने आज अगर एक टास्क बेस रखा है तो कुछ वैल्यूज जिनसे आप इंस्पायर हुए हैं, कल आप अगर दूसरा रखेंगे तो आप एक कॉन्फ्लिक्ट जनरेट करना शुरू कर देंगे और यू हैव टू चेंज योर वैल्यू सो ऑफनली कि आपकी कंसिस्टेंसीज नहीं रहेगी. So role model क्योंकि आपने copy paste करना है, तो it's better to have a like एक दफा सोच के and then try to have it over a period, and that will help you to create a consistency in the character which you want people to remember. क्योंकि लोग again जैसे मैंने शुरू में बात की थी, nobody knows who Abdul Wahab Shah is. I'll have my own perspective of Abdul Wahab Shah based on my experience and interaction with Abdul Wahab Shah. And another person may have altogether a different perspective. अगर आपकी पर्सनालिटी में वो कंसिस्टेंसी होगी तो जो दो लोग डिफरेंट सिचुएशन में आपसे इंटरेक्ट किए, दे विल रिमेंबर यू फॉर द सेम करेक्टर. और ये सबसे बड़ा टेस्ट होता है कि लोग आपको सिग्निफिकेंटली, आई वुडंट से 100% बट सिग्निफिकेंटली, व्हाट करेक्टर पीपल रिमेंबर अबाउट यू. So it's not who you are, it's how people perceive you. So वो perception आप generate करते हैं based on our experience. Coming back to the business model, so let's go back. Who can help us to explain business model canvas? And Mutaid, if you can help us to really display that, and we will request somebody to explain us. आपके हैंडआउट्स में बिजनेस मॉडल कैनवस इस वक्त अवेलेबल है. इसमें एक और हैंडआउट अवेलेबल है विच इज द फ्यूचर ऑफ वर्क. वो बहुत ज्यादा आईटी ड्रिवन है बट इट विल गिव यू वेरी क्लियर विजिबिलिटी that how things are moving going forward. So who is there to tell me what the business model canvas look like and how we read it? It's a tool. Anybody brave enough? आपकी स्क्रीन पे खुला हुआ है. Anyone like to explain? Okay, again, Rafe, if you can unmute yourself. Guys, मुझे लगता है हमारे पास वो बहादुर लोग थोड़े रह गए हैं. What's happening?
Assalamu alaikum, sir. So
Walaikum.
basically, last time we discussed the business model canvas, you told us to first focus on the value proposition, which tells you what is the proposed benefit for the customer, and it should be entirely focused on the customer's needs and wants. And it should go on something like, what are you offering to the customer? and then you go for the customer segments, and this would determine the channel as well as the customer relationships that you build along the way. And then from there
Right.
on, you go towards the key partners and the key activities you need to succeed in your business. And this will give you a good overview of what resources and cost structure that you need in order to be successful in your business. And lastly, you would focus on the revenue streams to make sure that your goals are aligned with the value proposition.
Great, wonderful, Rafa. I think you explained it very well. Anybody else who want to add? But thank you, Rafa. I think that's you were right in terms of sequence and the relevance. And just to let you know, थोड़ी देर में हम एक business model. I would request everybody to create a business model in half an hour for whatever idea they are thinking about. So start thinking about the idea. Meanwhile, we will go back to Rizwan. And thank you, Rizwan, for contributing. So you can go ahead.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Walaikum salam.
So business model canvas is basically a template for how you want to develop your business. So a new business, or if you want to improve an existing business, the business model canvas basically is a template you can use, and you can utilize the particulars of it to find out what you can do about it. So, for example, on the right hand side, there are three main core topics: which are related to your customers, the customer relationships, the channels you use to access them, and the segments in which the customers exist. So basically, if you can get the relevant data for these three documents, you can understand basically how you will deal with your customers. The second point is how you will do the actual thing, which is on your left hand side, which is the key partners, the key activities, the key resources. This is the infrastructure you require to interact with these customers. If you can manage to build up this infrastructure, it will help you relate to these customers. But in the middle, we have the value proposition. This was basically your offering to the customers. What will you be actually offering to them? It's the bridge between your infrastructure on the left and the customers on the right. The value proposition is actually what links these two sides. And in the bottom, we have the cost and revenue stream. This is basically the finances, which is going to be supporting all your business activities. So basically, it's like a building. The finances support it. On your right is the infrastructure which will help you do the business. On the left are the customers who you want to interact with, and the value proposition is the bridge which links the infrastructure to the customers. If you can fill this template, then basically you've focused on the core aspects, and it will help you build the business properly. This is the business model canvas for me.
Thank you, Rizwan. Very, very appropriately explained, and I think you have also summarized that the value proposition in the middle is basically linking that infrastructure to service that customer segment which exists on the extreme right side. So thank you very much. Just to remind everybody, हमने लास्ट टाइम जो बात की थी उसमें एक चीज जो इम्पोर्टेंट थी कि whatever the value proposition we are going to create, that always refer to a certain customer segment. और customer segment जैसे अभी हमने role model की भी बात की थी, those are the people you want to serve, the people you want to create value for, right? So उसका size बहुत depend करता है कि आपका customer segment कितना बड़ा है. For example, if you are in Pakistan, you talk about the youth under the age of 30, you are talking about 60% of population. और अगर आप उस segment को किसी एक city पे restrict करेंगे, तो then आपका ये size automatically change होना शुरू हो जाएगा. यही क्राइटेरिया उठा के अगर आप लेट्स से चाइना में अप्लाई करेंगे या रशिया में अप्लाई करेंगे, तो आपके नंबर्स बहुत फर्क हो जाएंगे, क्योंकि उनकी जो कस्टमर सेगमेंट अंडर 30 होगा वो बहुत डिफरेंट होगा कंपेयर टू यू हैव गॉट इन पाकिस्तान. And that will determine कि whatever the value proposition you are going to offer, how many people potentially can avail it. उसके बाद उनकी परचेज पावर और वो सारी चीजें आ सकती है. तो ये दो लिंकेज जो हैं ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि आप किस कस्टमर सेगमेंट के लिए क्या वैल्यू प्रोपोजिशन लेके आना चाह रहे हैं. एंड वैल्यू प्रोपोजिशन कुड बी अ प्रोडक्ट प्लेटफॉर्म, एंड दैट्स अ सॉल्यूशन फॉर अ प्रॉब्लम व्हिच एग्जिस्ट आउट देयर, और इट मे बी it may not be a problem yet, it may be a desire you are going to fulfill, which may not be a problem, but it could be a potential desire you create and then you fulfill that desire as well. ठीक है. So वैल्यू प्रोपोजिशन और कस्टमर सेगमेंट का रिलेशनशिप जो है ये सबसे स्ट्रांग होता है, और इसके बाद देन यू स्टार्ट क्रिएटिंग कि आपने हाउ यू गोना हैंडल द कस्टमर, आप उसको अप्रोच कैसे करेंगे, रिलेशनशिप कैसे मैनेज करेंगे, और फिर व्हाट आर द की एक्टिविटीज और रिसोर्सेज यू गोइंग टू डिप्लॉय टू डिलीवर दैट वैल्यू प्रोपोजिशन, और क्या पार्टनरशिप्स आपको बैक एंड पे चाहिए होंगे। तो ये सारी चीजें उसमें आती हैं। और फिर आपके जो, जैसे अभी रिजवान ने भी बात की, राफे ने भी बात की, आपकी एक्टिविटीज और रिसोर्सेज अल्टीमेटली डिटरमिन योर cost structure and the channel as well. So it will determine your cost structure and your pricing strategy and the volumes and the size of the segment. That will help you to really define कि आपकी revenue stream किस तरह, how you should be looking at the revenue stream side. So any question related with the business model canvas, this is the time, otherwise we will be expecting कि हम अभी business model canvas को fill कर रहे होंगे. A lot of people have used the business model canvas for their own career progression. उन्होंने business में नहीं गए, लेकिन उन्होंने अपने career को इसके ऊपर map करके, अपनी job को, employment को map करके, and then they created that one. So any question related with the Maria, you are facing a voice issue. Anybody else facing a voice issue? Okay, great. So Maria, you might have to reconnect, so that might be helpful. So any question related with the business model canvas right now? अगर मैं आपको कहूँ कि आपके पास 30 minutes हैं, and you have to come up with the business model canvas reflecting whatever the idea you are working or planning to work, or your own career path, can you do that in 30 minutes? Definitely, Rafael. Who else can try? And Kabani. Okay, we'll try. Okay, what do you think when we talk about K? Thank you, Amar, as well. That, yeah, sure. So, what do you think? अगर मैं आपको एक बोर्ड मीटिंग में एक आइडिया पे काम करने के लिए कहूं, and then you have to come back and present it in a 30 minutes time. Have you gone through that scenario in past, or some decisions you might need to make in a 30 minutes or a 15 minutes? And those decisions are important, and that's include a lot of variables. Have you gone through those scenarios in your life? Yeah, so presentations, yes. So it's important to create. That's a six digit is designed to develop that one. Now I'm talking about other than 6-digit life in your life. So वो constraints तो हमें generate करने पड़ते हैं, so you can reflect that in your why not? कभी आपने डिसीजन लेना हो कि आपने 4 लोगों ने मिलके या 5 लोगों ने मिलके खाने पे जाना है, and you have to choose a restaurant, and then everybody has got a different priorities. Right? So आपकी लाइफ में बहुत से ये डिसीजन मेकिंग के वो आते हैं. Rafid, uncertainty and decision. डिसीजन हमें लेने ही इसीलिए पड़ते हैं कि चीजें अनसर्टन होती हैं, अदरवाइज तो वो एब्सोल्यूट चॉइसेस होती है ना, जैसे ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट है. व्हाट इज व्हाइट? यू डोंट हैव टू मेक अ डिसीजन, इट्स एब्सोल्यूट चॉइस कि ये व्हाइट है, हमने बचपन से इसी को व्हाइट कहा हुआ है. ये हो सकता है कि मैं आपको सजेस्ट करूं कि रेड आज से नया व्हाइट है, सो दैट कुड बी अ डिबेट, बट जनरली एब्सोल्यूट चॉइसेस होती है. डिसीजन मीन देयर इज अनसर्टन. Why choosing a restaurant is easy as compared to investing significant amount? It's the same decision making process. It's just the different risk. So we are not talking about the risk there. We are talking about the process. So whether you are taking a decision of investing significant amount or you are choosing a restaurant, the decision making process remains the same. It's just that the risk associated with both may be different. So my point which I was trying to bring you is that जब हम बात करते हैं ना 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, a quick decision making. So it's not that you are making a decision there. Basically, you learn and you practice that process again and again and again and again. So you master it in a way कि आप उस चीज को बड़ी quickly deploy कर सकते हैं. ये बिल्कुल इसी तरह जैसे अभी क्रिकेट की भी यहाँ पे बात हो रही थी कि if you practice certain shots in a certain way and you keep practicing it, you become really, really expert in it. And whenever you get a chance, you will use that shot and create a value for your team, right? So it's all around practicing. So business model canvas is an opportunity as a tool to practice that how we should be thinking in any decision making process. You have to go and see that how you can deploy that decision making for choosing a restaurant. So rather than running a business, you will be asking the question, what kind of value proposition that restaurant is offering? In my customer segment, which may be 5 people, who has got a preference for that? How we should approach that? The people who are not willing, how we should convey the message and convince them? What kind of resources you need to get to a restaurant? What kind of activities you need to do there to make it a fun? Who you should partner with if you have to really ask for a Kareem. So Kareem could be one of a partnership as a right share for that. And what is going to cost and what the value it's going to deliver, which could be replaced with the revenue stream. So जब आप इन boxes को एक दफा practice कर लेंगे, then you can deploy that thought process in a different environment again and again and again. So आपकी चीजें कस्टमर सेगमेंट से शायद रिप्लेस होकर कोई और चीज होगी उसमें, लेकिन आपका सोचने का तरीका यही होगा कि what value I'm going to deliver or drive for whom and by whom, right? And how I'm going to really deliver that. So ये 7 8 9 चीजें सोचते हुए you can really do that mental math and you can arrive to a certain decision. आपके पास definitely information की validation, you can't take everything. Like if you are making an investment decision, you might need a certain resource to validate the information. You might not need to validate the same information through a restaurant because you can go online and you can check the rate, but you are still trying to validate. It's just that it's easier, it's more accessible, right? So now my request to you is that, and if you have any question, we can take that question in another 2 3 minutes we have. By 7:25, you will go for 30 minutes and you will create your business model, or you will capture your business model in the canvas. And we would like some people, at least 2 or 3 minimum, to share it back in this session. The rest we will request you individually right now. There's one individually, you will go back and do that individually. And then the people who may not be able to share that in the session, I would suggest they should share that in the WhatsApp group and ask for peer feedback, that what kind of business model they are thinking. And we will go through that process during the session. So it will give you some sort of a question bank that how you should provide a feedback or seek more information around the business. So it's an individual assignment, not a group assignment. Any question? Sawal? Any question, guys? We had to create our, yeah, you have to create your business model canvas, individual assignment for preparing it, yes. आप अपने handouts में से ये download कर सकते हैं. You can just remove that text and you can put your own text. Value proposition के लिए ideal ये होता है कि आपको less than 30 words में, less than 50 words में your value proposition should be clear enough for your customer segment, who your customers are. Anybody who's running a business right now? People who are in business, I think it would be easier for them to capture their current value propositions. Uh, Another question before we break for this one. How many of you have crossed that 100,000 monthly income benchmark? People who have crossed the 100,000 income benchmark. Yes, no, close. Rafis, being a student doesn't mean that you can't do it. Close, Abdurrahman. I can understand most of the people here in this group are students and affiliates. So that's because I have a similar question yesterday with the members group, and uh, there's quite a significant progress. The people who started this one and the people in their offices have start taking notice. Some people have already crossed it. Some are very, very close to cross it. Okay. Regardless where you are, just make sure you should start putting together your plan to cross your first 100,000 uh, as soon as possible. But have your plan ready now. Even if you have over 18 or 19 in term of age, you may not have more than 2-3 years to really get to that level. So by 23, 24 max, you have to hit that first 100,000. And nobody gonna offer you unless until you create enough value for them, so they are willing to give you that 100,000 as a business, as an employee, as an investor. So you have to really see how you plan it. So it's 7:27. So we will be back on 7:57. So you have 30 minutes. I'll be available. If you have any question, you can park the question in a question box, question tab. I'll be picking up those questions. And let's give it the best, how you can create the best value proposition and link it back with the entire process of the customer segment channel, and then bring it back as a model or as a template or as a idea which ideally यहाँ पे बैठे हुए लोग उसमें invest करने को तैयार हों. They can see that value, they can see that profitability coming to them. So create a compelling business model and try to generate investment for that business model here. This is one of your opportunity, and you never know how the words will go out, and somebody will be able to connect you with somebody who's an investor, or you might find a certain investor here in a members group. There are people who are becoming a seed investor or an angel investor for some of the ideas. So don't underestimate the importance of that network you have created now. Right, so we will resume in 30 minutes. I'll be available, and you can put your question here and I can answer those. So see you back at 7:57. So who is ready with that? Anyone who would like to share, please raise your hand so we can make you a presenter. Anyone? Okay, Rafi, are you willing to share so we can convert you into a presenter and you can share it?
Okay, sir. Is my screen visible?
Yep.
Okay, so basically, I'm looking to develop a business which is going to provide reliable financial services at an affordable price. So my value proposition would be satisfying the need of shareholders as well as the management in providing them with accurate and reliable information on time. And my customer segment would be focused on creating value for businesses. So my main aim would be to target the sole proprietors, since this is the most common form of business in Pakistan. And a lot of sole traders are not very financially literate. So this would be a gap which I would be looking to exploit. And my next focus would be on shareholders, since they have a constant need of knowing how their capital is being utilized.
Rafi, if I can intervene here,
Mhm.
what is the gap in the market?
So the gap is, as we know through our previous sessions, a lot of sole traders who are mostly working on cash and stuff, they do not have financial records.
No,
So
that's fine. But do they need one? If they
yeah,
need one, are there enough people to provide it?
there are enough people, but the cost factor is something that makes the sole traders back out, and that's the part I'm looking to fulfill.
Okay, and how are you going to compete on pricing? Because anybody can offer a price less than you and they can take over the business.
So
If
basically, I'm
it's
targeting two different customers, right? So for sole proprietors, I'll be providing them with lower than average cost of services, and I'm looking to cover that up through like my international clients.
okay, so you are subsidizing it.
So basically, what I'm looking for is there are a lot of companies that are looking to outsource their financial departments. So for them, uh, labor laws have made it quite expensive to acquire human resources. So if they come to my business, uh, cost of labor in Pakistan is going to be way cheaper. So they're gonna get the same thing at a lower price.
So you will be working in Pakistan for sole proprietor, or it is outside Pakistan?
So it's going to be mainly based in Pakistan, and
Pakistan.
yeah.
Okay. Please go ahead. Go ahead, continue.
Okay, and so for customer relationships, mostly the customers are looking for long-term professional relationships so that their legal and financial advisory needs are met. And the channels which I'll be using to reach them through would be online media marketing, such as LinkedIn and word of mouth. So since sole proprietors are not very literate, most of them would be working through word of mouth, and an option of leaving a review on the online marketing media would be cost effective, as well as it would give them it would give the sole traders a review of the performance of the services that the clients have received. So as I mentioned here, most sole traders work through personal relationships with their suppliers or clients, and our channel of reaching customers through reviews is definitely going to leave a strong mark.
Sure.
And for key activities, we'll be performing financial services from A to Z. So that would include data entry, preparation of financial statements, as well as financial advisory services. So these would be provided mostly through students, since I feel that students are definitely looking to kickstart their careers as early as possible. And this is definitely something that is being overlooked currently. So for key partners, there would be the top financial education institutes in Pakistan who would be supplying us with the human resources that are required. Key activities that would be taking place for them would be scouting for dependable employees who are also technically proficient, as well as giving students the opportunity to practically implement what they have learned so far. And as for key resources, we would be providing our workforce with all the you could say resources that they need to continuously develop their skill set, such as giving them training sessions on the latest financial modeling tools such as Power BI, SAP, and NetSuite. And as for the cost structure, acquisition of human capital is going to be our main cost driver, with majority of our services being provided through financially adept labor force. Huge emphasis would be placed on the quality of workers that we will be bringing to our teams, and we will look to provide them with above average pay scales, which would be funded by our offshore clients, who would be more than happy to pay for the same services at a lower cost. As for revenue streams, our focus would mainly be on generating major revenue from international companies who are looking to outsource their financial departments. As I've mentioned earlier, labor laws have made the cost of labor pretty expensive, and I would be looking to get about 60% of my revenue through them. And as for sole traders, they would be charged a pretty affordable amount so that they become customers and they stay loyal for over the long term period. And as an estimate, I would be looking to generate 40% of my revenue from them.
Great. Thank you, Rafi. Anyone has a question for Rafi? Any feedback, any question? And who is second in line to share that? आप में से और किसने इस पे काम किया है? Who has got that one? चलें पहले राफे के लिए let's look at the questions from for Rafe, and then it seems I have to pick up myself few names. Question for Rafe. Guys, How come nobody has a question for Rafe or a feedback for Rafe?
Like, seems like I've done a good job, I guess.
Now, when the criticism is our national sport, how we can miss it?
I definitely agree on that one.
So Sumara Khalid has got a question for you. In the key resources, you ask about the Power BI, SAP. Mostly students don't know about the Power BI. So you will be training for it.
Yes, as I've mentioned that we will be giving them the tools that they will need to perform their duties with, and most of them has to do with providing them with training. And since they are students, they are already at their prime learning capacity. So I feel that they would be hungry enough to give it their 200% and basically learn at a great pace.
Great. Thank you, Rafa. Any other question for Rafa? Anyone else who is willing or volunteer to share, or should I start picking up names? Thank you, Rafa. And I'll give you that opportunity, Rafa, that you can pick any name from the list. So Daniel Ahmed has a question, Rafa, for you. How Rafa will generate investment for business?
So firstly, it is going to be self-financed so that we can get it rolling off the ground. And as we continue to get our clients and build a strong portfolio, we would be looking to gain extra investment through financial loans or venture capitalists who would be looking to invest in my business.
So, Rafa, as a reward, we give you an opportunity to pick up a name who can present next.
People are actually gonna hate me for that.
That's fine. We are not here in a popularity contest.
Oh, that's true. Guess I'd go with Talha Hamid, I guess.
Talha?
Yep.
Okay. Let me pick up. Do we have Talha here? Ji, Talha Hamid. So, Talha, we are going to convert you into presenter. Sumera is facing issue with the voice. Anybody else facing the same issue? Okay, Tala, you can go ahead. You can share your screen first. Moted, can you hear us okay? Zakirullah Kafayat is also facing issues.
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Okay, great. So Tala, you can start your business model canvas. You can use presenter mode and you can share that. Tala, are you facing issue in sharing it? Tala, you are on mute, by the way. But are you sure people can hear me? Because it seems Tala is not responding either. I can't see any question coming up. Amir Ramzan, can you hear me okay?
Seems to be clear for me.
Tala, can you unmute yourself? Raf, it seems that you might have to, there's some voice issue.
Should I nominate someone else?
Seems like Tala haven't started that.
Okay, I'd probably nominate Usman Khalid.
Usman is, I think he's reconnecting. Usman, are you okay? Can you raise your hand and we can give you the presenter mode? So Usman is reconnecting. Rafa, you might have to pick someone else. Or who else we can request?
How about Rizwan Yusuf?
Rizwan, can you hear us? Can you raise your hand? Rizwan Yusuf. Apparently system tells that he's not attentive right now. Can we request Saad Ajlal? Saad Ajlal. Saad is not there either. Amna Mahin, are you willing to share? Guys, when I left last time, that was quite a brave group. Maria Iqbal. Maria, are you there? Maria Iqbal.
Hello? Hello? Can you
Ji.
hear me?
Yeah, we can. So are you okay to present? Can we make you presenter?
I have worked a little bit on it.
That's
I
fine.
can only share what I've done so far.
That's fine. So we
That's
will make you a
fine.
presenter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Presenter, I can share my screen if I...
So now you are a presenter and you can share your screen.
Hmm? Hello?
Great, we can see that. Yep.
Okay. एक मिनट से Okay.
Okay, so what's
ठीक
the
है
idea?
जाएगा.
What is the value proposition?
I have an idea of like to give rent dresses on rent actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
आजकल तो सीजन भी है शादियों का, तो that's quite
सीजन भी है और ये है कि जो है ना वैल्यू प्रपोजिशन इस हिसाब से कि जो है कस्टमर्स जो हैं बेसिकली अब जो है ड्रेसेस भी खासे जो है ना एक्सपेंसिव हो गए हैं, तो आम मतलब है कि ज़्यादा आप अगर आप कहें कि फैशनेबल और अप टू डेट ड्रेसेस जो है ना ज़्यादातर जो लोगों की पहुंच में नहीं है जो है इन टर्म्स ऑफ मनी और जो है तो उसमें ये है कि फिर मैंने जो है एक ये आइडिया मेरा है कि मैं जो हूँ ना इस तरह का कोई जो है ना मेरे पास एक प्लेटफॉर्म हो जिसमें जो है लोगों को रेंटल ऑन रेंट जो है ना ड्रेसेस अवेलेबल हों जो कि इन फैशन हो और जो है लोग जो है ना उनको इजीली जो है ना वो जो है ना यूज करें रेंट पे ले सकें और फिर जो है ना उसको जो है ना इस तरह चलाएं बिजनेस को. जी. तो ये है कि इसमें ये है कि हमारी वैल्यू प्रपोजिशन ये है कि हमारे मेन जो है मतलब क्वालिटी की तरफ हम जाएंगे कि क्वालिटी ड्रेसेस जो है ना विद इन जो है ना रेंज जो है ना आपके पास आ रहे हो. एक मिनट ऊपर चला गया. लोगों की रेंज में आ रहे हो और जो है ना लेस कस्टमर स्पेंडिंग होगी क्योंकि अगर आपका कोई ड्रेस है वेडिंग ड्रेस फॉर एग्जांपल कोई जो है ना लाख 1.5 लाख 5 लाख तक भी जाता है. तो ये कि अगर आप उसको रेंट पे ले जाने लगे तो आप कम से कम भी उसको अराउंड 30 to 25,000 तक जो है ना रेंट पे ले सकें क्योंकि आपने 3 घंटे का आपका जो है ना फंक्शन है तो आपने उसमें यूज करके और मतलब एक उसको आप जो है ना वो एक कर सकते हैं. और दूसरी भी फॉर्मल ड्रेसेस वगैरह होते हैं. हेलो.
आप रेंट पे जा सकते हैं, कैजुअल में जा सकते हैं, so you can
जी
have a
जी.
range
हाँ
around it.
जी जी. इसी तरह है. तो अब ये है कि कस्टमर सेगमेंट यही है मिडिल क्लास बेसिकली मिडिल क्लास का ही प्रॉब्लम है कि वो जो है ना फिर ये मेन इसके साथ इन ड्रेसेस का ये मसला भी होता है कि आप उसको दोबारा पहन ही नहीं सकते. आप एक दफा
Yeah, so
5-6 लाख का खर्चा एक ड्रेस पे कर लेते हैं फिर आप दोबारा उसको यूज ही नहीं कर सकते. तो वो फिर जो
I
है
think
ना उसमें
just
ये है.
my advice to you, it's not a middle class issue, it's an elite class issue. So they are the ones who want to really come up with a new dress every time in every party, and they are the ones who are more socially active. So I think that's one of a class you should not miss out, and they are okay to rent it.
ओह यस ऐसा है. तो उसके बाद फिर ये कि जो है फिर हम उसमें हम चले जाते हैं कि भाई हम कस्टमर रिलेशनशिप कैसे रखेंगे. तो ये कि इसमें ये कि टाइमली डिलीवरी हो कस्टमर को कि आप कोई ड्रेस पसंद करें तो आपको जो है ना फौरन उस टाइम जो है ना वो उनके साथ जो है ना लेजॉन करके डिलीवर हो जाए. और ये कि भी जो है ना इन फैशन और ड्रेस मेन जो है ना फोकस ये कि इन फैशन हो क्योंकि आउट ऑफ डेटेड ड्रेस तो आपको बहुत मिल जाएंगे. इन फैशन ड्रेस जो है ना वो आपको ऑन रेंट नहीं मिलेगा. तो ये कि उसके लिए आपको थोड़ा डिग आउट करना पड़ेगा. इसके अलावा क्लीनलेस क्योंकि एक इश्यू में थोड़ा सा ग्रॉसा है इसके अंदर के जो है जाहिर है अब जब रेंटल ड्रेसेस होंगे तो उसमें थोड़ा सा क्लीननेस का इशू आएगा. लेकिन ये कि वो जो है हमारे पास अभी फिलहाल आगे मैंने लिखना था इसका क्लीननेस को रिजॉल्व करने का जो है ना मेरे पास एक सोल्यूशन है. तो वो अभी मैंने ऐसा लिखा नहीं है इसमें. और जो है अब चैनल्स पे हम आ जाएं तो हम मतलब बेसिकली थ्रू सोशल मीडिया ही जो है ना मार्केटिंग करेंगे मेन. तो उसी तरफ जाऊंगी मैं बेसिकली. अभी तक तो मेरे पास अभी ये है तो
And you are looking
थोड़ा सा अभी मैं
in Lahore. Lahore आपके
जी
लिए जो है.
इंदौर
Okay, great. और
क्योंकि मेरा
do you
एरिया ऑफ
think you have
रेजिडेंस
a
यही है.
competition in Lahore for that? आपका कोई competition है लाहौर में?
अभी फिलहाल जो है मैंने अभी इसके बारे में सोचा था इसके बारे में वर्किंग कर रही हूँ लेकिन थोड़ा भी इतना वो नहीं है
If you
इसलिए मुझे इतना
Google
अंदाजा
it,
नहीं है कि
then
यहाँ
you
पे
find.
कितना है. हाँ
If you
यस.
Google it, I think you would be able to
गूगल
find
मतलब
some.
ये कि थोड़े से मैंने कुछ ढूंढे थे लेकिन उसमें ओवरऑल कम ही है. वो थोड़ा उस साइड पे है जरा जो है मेन जो लाहौर मेन लाहौर है जो सारा पुराना लाहौर है उस साइड पे ज्यादा है. तो इस साइड पे जहाँ पे मैं रहती हूँ मैं मैरी टाउन साइड पे रहती हूँ तो इस तरफ जरा लोग जो है ना इस तरह के जो है ना वो कम है बेसिकली जो है ना ये वाला काम करे.
Okay, so there are some interesting feedback here on VMC and Silverwork, but guys, we are not going to end today. We will continue this activity क्योंकि आपका second जो session है उसमें भी business model canvas की ही improvement की बात होगी. So Sumera has got a question that during the coronavirus cases, people will hesitate in taking suit on rent due to fear of corona. Any strategy to deal with this issue? There's Rabia Sharif has a question: how fashionable dresses and cleanliness can help to develop a customer relationship? And Sumera again made a comment: still, despite of cleaning, guaranteed people will think about this one.
नहीं वो
So
बिल्कुल
this is a
सोचेंगे, मेरा बिल्कुल यही ख्याल है कि वो सोचेंगे, क्योंकि लेकिन ये है कि अब जाहिर है कोरोना ने अब बेसिकली हम आगे, अब भी जरूरी तो नहीं है कि आपने उसको 6-8 महीने में ही चलाना है, जाहिर है आप उसके लिए आगे भी सोच रहे होंगे, इन द एंड कोरोना ने एंड हो जाना है, लेकिन ये क्लीनलीनेस इशू हर जगह ही है। तो उसमें ये है कि आप जो है ना, मतलब है कि जब आप एक ड्रेस चूज कर लेते हैं ना, मतलब है कि एक रेंट पे आपने अपना भी कर लिया इवन, तो आप उसको ऐसा वॉश तो करते ही हैं। तो ये कि एक मतलब आजकल तो काफी बेहतर हो गया कि आप जो है ना उसको ड्राई क्लीन ला लें फॉर वन टाइम यूज के बाद,
okay.
फॉरन वन टाइम यूज के बाद हो जाता है।
I think एक चीज हमें जहन में रखनी है कि this is the business model which exists out there, और ये बहुत डेवलप
एग्जिस्ट
कंट्रीज में तो
करता है,
बहुत ज्यादा है ये
डेवलप कंट्री में ज्यादा है, इधर है स्कोप, लेकिन बस बात ये कि जो है ना लोगों में एक तरह का जो है ना वो एक स्टिग्मा है कि जो है ना ड्रेस जो है ना इस मामले में, मतलब अपने ड्रेस जो है ना अपनी, और हमने किसी का रेंट पे नहीं लेना, सही है, लेकिन ये रेंट
हमारे
वाला हिसाब जो है ना पड़ोसियों तक तो चल जाता है, उससे आगे
नहीं, हमारे यहाँ एक वैसे भी वो जो लेट मी फाइंड द राइट वर्ड फॉर दैट, जो खप्त है ना पोजेशन का, कि we really want to
पोजेशन का। हाँ
possess things, right? So that's sometimes we struggle with sharing around it. Whereas if you see the Kareem, it's a ride share issue, but still there is a category and there is a customer segment who doesn't want to use Kareem because it's sharing, and they want to own their own car, and even if it's expensive in terms of maintenance, inefficient, everything. But for them to get into the sharing mode may be still difficult one.
दरअसल ऐसा है कि मेरे ज़हन में इस मामले में एक पॉइंट आया था, लेकिन जो है ना उसको मैं थोड़ा-सा शेयर करना चाहूँगी। वो ऐसा है कि अगर आप जो हो एक इन्वेस्टमेंट भी नहीं है, एक वन टाइम जो है ना कॉस्ट है बेसिकली है। अगर आपने 5 लाख का ड्रेस लिया अपने एक फंक्शन के लिए, वो भी आपने 3 घंटे जो है ना उसको पहनना सिर्फ, ठीक है? इन द एंड वो आपके लिए 5 लाख जो है ना वो सीधे आपके जो है ना कुएँ में चले गए, स्ट्रेट अवे गोइंग में चले गए। अब अगर आपकी अगर एक पॉइंट ऑफ माइंड मेकअप ये इस तरह का हो कि अगर आपने ये 5 लाख खर्च किए हैं, तो आप उसको 1 या 2 या 3 दफा उसको रेंट पे देके उसकी आधी कॉस्ट तो आप जो है ना मतलब कि रिकवर कर ही लोगे।
Yeah, I can't resist that, but just if you are looking at that, the 5 lakh address, normally we are talking about the wedding and the wedding ceremony, and we're talking about brides. And if you go back and tell the bride कि 5 लाख रुपए कुएं में चले गए, तो उनकी सारी इन्वेस्टमेंट जो होती है ना उस पे they may not be very happy, and
दरअसल
particularly
बेसिकली उन्होंने खुद तो खर्चा करना नहीं होता, पेरेंट्स नहीं करना होता है बेसिकली।
not necessary. We
ठीक है।
have seen a lot of self-made people. यहाँ पे या तो the groom is
दरअसल
investing or a bride is investing by themselves. So
नहीं वो
ये
भी है,
ये कुआं वाली एग्जांपल जो है ना थोड़ा सा एक्सट्रीम हो जाएगा, इमोशन सेट हर्ट होंगे लोगों के
इमोशंस
जिन्होंने
बेसिकली अटैच होते हैं। मेरा अपना यही हाल है कि मैं अपना वेडिंग ड्रेस जो है ना निकालती भी नहीं हूँ, अपना मैंने अलमारी में छुपा के रखा हुआ है, लेकिन मुझे अब ये फील होता है कि वो इतनी जगह घेर रहा है कि जिसकी हद नहीं है।
No, I think it's an interesting and very practical idea, but more importantly, this is something which can help us to really eliminate the waste. You know,
बेसिकली हाँ जी, ये भी पॉइंट था मेरा। जी जी।
so आप बहुत सी चीजें जो unnecessary, it's not that कि हम कपड़ा जाया हो जाता है, the waste is that the resources could have been deployed somewhere else for a better use. So
नहीं अब
अगर
आप ये
one
देखें,
time
जी 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 जी,
then please go ahead.
बेसिकली मेरा एक पॉइंट ये भी था कि जो इतने सारे कारीगर एक काम में लगे हुए होते हैं, जो एक ड्रेस बनाने में लगे हुए होते हैं, ठीक है, वो कारीगर की कितनी मेहनत जो है ना वो एक उस ड्रेस को बनाने में लग रही है, जो कि सिर्फ उसमें जो है ना मतलब जिसे पहनने वाले ने सिर्फ एक दफा पहना। बेसिकली ओवरऑल हमारा वर्कफोर्स जो है ना सारा इसी में ही लगा हुआ है। हेलो,
नहीं
तो
नहीं
मुझे
नहीं,
जरा थोड़ी
that's
खांसी लगी तो आप
that's true. No, thank you for sharing, and I think it's worth evolving, and I think इसमें आपको community support भी बहुत मिलेगी अगर आप इसमें social angle add करना शुरू करें, avoid waste and reuse that these dresses, or start sharing, avoid
बेसिकली
possession, right?
एक जो है स्टार्टअप, बेसिकली अगर आपने एक एक्सेप्टेंस अपने जो है ना बिजनेस की जो है ना वो रखनी है लोगों में, तो बेसिकली आपने पहले उसको जो है ना लोगों के अंदर एम्बेड करना है कि आप इस चीज को आगे जो है ना यूज कर सकते हैं, रीयूज कर सकते हैं। बेसिकली एक ओवरऑल एक जो है ना माइंड सेटअप, माइंड मेकअप लोगों का जो है ना वो करना पड़ेगा,
बिल्कुल
फिर भी
बिल्कुल।
ही आप जो है ना आप इसको जो है ना वो कर सकते हैं।
And then believe me, as soon as it will become a business, you will find a lot of people are just investing in dresses which they can rent,
जी जी ऐसे ही
and
है।
they will start preparing those dresses with the flexibility, जहाँ पे अगर मैं एक bridal dress या women की side पे बात करूँ, where they can change the dupatta and some of the pieces on the go to make it a little bit different। और अगर आप इस पे चले जाते हैं मर्दों के ड्रेसेस पे, तो उसमें तो बहुत ही आसान होता है कि एक सूट है, उसके साथ आप शर्ट और टाई चेंज करें तो उसकी टोटल आउटलुक चेंज हो जाती है। So
जी जी ऐसे।
you can still build that business where you can rent that multiple time। इसी तरह उसकी फिटिंग के लिए there are a lot of small equipments and stuff, even safety pin and the common pins which you can use to immediately adjust
वो सिर्फ
the
उसका
fitting
ये
side
कि
of it and the size।
एडजस्टमेंट का ये है कि एडजस्टमेंट जो है ना बेसिकली जो मेल सूट होते हैं उनकी थोड़ी डिफरेंट होती है, क्योंकि उसको सारा खोलना पड़ता है। फीमेल ड्रेसेस का इतना मसला नहीं होता। फीमेल
नहीं नहीं, I
ड्रेसेस को
think it's
आप
a
जो है ना विद इन मतलब एक 2 से 3 घंटे के अंदर फिट करवा सकते हैं, वो कोई इशू नहीं है। क्योंकि मैं
बिल्कुल।
खुद भी स्टिचिंग करती हूँ, मुझे थोड़ा सा अंदाजा है इन चीजों का कि ये हो जाता है।
स्टिचिंग के अलावा you can still use all the, like I was mentioning, the common pins, because आपने 3 घंटे के लिए पहनना है ना, you don't have to change permanently,
नहीं, वो
so you
इतना
can
भारी
still,
ड्रेस होता है और कॉमन पिन इतना काम नहीं करती उसके ऊपर दरअसल।
that's why there has to be a better equipment to do those
हाँ
and
बेटर
better
हाँ जी ऐसे ही
जब
है।
आप इस साइड पे जाएंगे तो वो इंडस्ट्री भी आपकी इवॉल्व होना शुरू हो जाएगी, जहाँ पे क्विक फिक्सेस आना शुरू हो जाएंगे, हाउ यू कैन रियली डू एंड हैंडल
नहीं
दैट काइंड ऑफ
बेसिकली
ड्रेसेस।
आप कभी भी कोई ड्रेस लेने भी जाए ना, तो वो आपको यही कहते हैं कि आपको हम विद इन एन आवर जो है ना उसको एडजस्ट करा के दे देते हैं। तो वो ये है कि वो इतना बड़ा इशू नहीं होता एडजस्टमेंट का। तो वो ऐसा एक ड्रेस 3 साइजेस में जो है ना एडजस्ट हो सकता है।
हाँ, लेकिन हाउ मेनी टाइम्स, आज आपने एक में
वो
किया है,
मेनी
कल एक
टाइम्स
और वेडिंग पे जाना है, फिर आप मतलब जितनी
नहीं
दफा उसको
नहीं
करेंगे वो ड्रेस सस्टेनेबल नहीं रहेगा ना।
सस्टेनेबल नहीं रहते हैं, सस्टेनेबल का इतना इशू नहीं है उसके साथ, क्योंकि ये जो होते हैं ना इन तरह का जो मटेरियल में यूज होता है ना, वो इतना मसला नहीं होता कि आप उसको जो है ना बहुत ही कोई वो आ जाए। बेसिकली हम जाहिर है साइज भी 3-4 है ना आपके, आप उसी हिसाब से आप रेंट करोगे ना उसको, क्योंकि उसी तरह बना हुआ है एक
एनी
ड्रेस के हिसाब
फर्दर,
से।
जी जी सॉरी, एनी फर्दर क्वेश्चन फॉर मारिया? Great, thank you, Maria, thank you for sharing. Anybody else who is brave enough to share?
थैंक यू सो मच। थैंक यू सो
Uh, Maria, there are a couple of comments I think worth going. That there's a mindset with not repeating the dress and owning it. That's a one side. Storage issue is another point, and over the time inventory build up hogi. So that's another point there. So worth evaluating those points. Anybody else who's willing to share, or shall I pick another name very quickly? Uh, Naila, Naila Basharat. Naila, you commented on the mindset, so let's see what you have got there. Even any draft will work.
Assalamu alaikum, sir. Can you hear me?
Gigi, we can hear you now.
Sir, वो जो question मैंने किया है वो तो it was related to what was just presented. कि
Yeah.
usually the ladies who are of the mindset कि नहीं we don't want to repeat the dresses. उनका usually ये भी mindset होता है कि हम वो कपड़े own भी करें because that's the whole
जी, जी.
point. They want to show the rest of the people कि see we own these clothes या चलो हम ये इतने affording हैं कि हम कपड़े ये सारे own करते हैं.
No, that's fair enough. So do you have your own business model canvas?
Sir, I have one, but that's not complete yet because
That's
it was
fine.
just a.
So
Okay, sure,
can
I
we
can
see
share
that?
that. Ji,
So
sir,
what
sure.
can you make Nyla as a presenter?
Nana, you can share your screen now.
Okay. Is it visible?
Yeah, it's visible. We can see that. Let's get started.
Okay. So, sir, my one isn't complete क्योंकि मैंने इतना formally इसके बारे में सोचा नहीं था. So it was just
Okay.
a thought process जो मैं कभी सोचती थी कि this is a possibility, like a business can be started or something that I can start by my own.
Okay.
So it's basically that I want to start my own services introducing babies and toddlers in studio photography.
Great.
So the reason why I chose this was because it's new in Peshawar. जितना मैंने देखा है, जितना मैंने सर्च किया है, इसका इतना यहाँ पे किसी ने इसको इंट्रोड्यूस नहीं किया और ये बाकी कंट्रीज में, बाकी सिटीज में है, काफी वेल एस्टैब्लिश्ड है. यहाँ पे सिर्फ वो डायरेक्ट मेन स्ट्रीम फोटोग्राफी सर्विसेज वगैरह चलती हैं.
Okay.
तो ये आई थिंक ये जो अपॉर्चुनिटी है ना ये यहाँ पे एक्सप्लॉइट की जा सकती है क्योंकि इसमें कंपटीशन जो है वो कम है.
No,
So
that's
that
and the
yes.
customer segment when we are looking at it says parent with newborn and toddlers. So
Yes.
that's what your key cast. So what is the value proposition when everybody has got a camera in their hand? So how that in studio photography is going to make a difference?
सर इन स्टूडियो फोटोग्राफी का ये है कि उसमें आपके पास पूरा बैकग्राउंड सेट होता है, आपके प्रॉप्स होते हैं. यूजुअली अगर आप देखें ऑस्ट्रेलिया साइड है या यूके साइड है या एनी वेल डेवलप्ड कंट्री, उसमें अगर आप कोई देखें ये जो सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं उस टाइप की पिक्चर्स अगर यहाँ पे इंट्रोड्यूस हो जाएं तो वो चीज़ डिफरेंट है क्योंकि कैमरा तो हर एक के हाथ में है लेकिन वो स्किल और वो सारा
Environment
सेटअप और बैकग्राउंड या
and
एनवायरनमेंट
lighting.
वो जो है. यस, लाइटिंग
Light.
स्पेशली.
Are you familiar with that? Just building upon this one, are you familiar with the concept of toddlers cafe?
Not about that, लेकिन I'm familiar with the photography और इस तरह की
Yeah.
चीजें because um, I've taken workshops and classes on that.
So it's a similar concept where instead of one person coming for a studio, you create a toddler cafe where you offer multiple services for toddlers. That's even जिसको हम for example, they can interact with other people. It's not a daycare, and you
Okay.
bring some food around it, and that's just like a cafe, and they can have a studio there as well. So that's an additional service you can bring. So there could be a range of
Yes.
service while the toddlers are coming, and they can interact with each other. So that's become a common point where mothers comes as well, and they spend
Yes.
time with other mothers. So that's create a more social gathering and comfort level for young mothers specifically, and they learn a lot from each other. So it's practically for the
Okay.
toddlers to interact with others, but it's create a good learning for young mothers. Pakistan में आपको idea है कि mothers or parenting, in other words, it's not something which we get trained. हम उसकी किताबें भी नहीं पढ़ते कि
हाँ जी
parenting.
सर.
It's the most important task or commitment anybody can undertake, and if you're not trained enough, so you might be raising a kid, but you might not be building the right kind of personality, character, and the mindset, and which ultimately become a challenge for
Yes
the
sir.
society in total, right? So
Yes
these
sir.
toddler cafes are basically help to really create that informal infrastructure to let people interact and learn from each other, and then they create the courses and the sessions there for mothers as well as for the young ones, so they can while they are in their formation age, they can learn from an informal one. And you can add a studio there. That would be a lovely addition to that one.
Yes, sir, that's a great idea. लेकिन first of all मुझे इसका इतना idea नहीं था, so I'll search about it and look into this. लेकिन considering जो आप कह रहे हैं, I think पेशावर में अभी इतना advanced सब कुछ नहीं हुआ कि इस चीज़ की यहाँ पे कोई value की जाएगी इस time पे. Maybe in a few years or in 3 to 5 years maybe इस चीज़ का हो, लेकिन and I think that's a different business.
It's
उसके लिए
altogether different. It's just
yeah,
that additional service. So it's not a photography. So my challenge question for you, how you can make it global and not restricted to Peshawar, the photography?
sir, globally, so I think once if you provide good services which are different, I think आपकी मशहूरी तो वैसे ही हो जाती है. तो from Peshawar it can go to Islamabad, from Islamabad um, it can be something कि चलो आगे लाहौर तक चला जाएगा, कराची तक चला जाएगा, appointments उस तरह. And I think that will create way itself.
How you can deliver this service in Australia?
In Australia, I 2-3 ways, sir. एक possibility नहीं है, 2-3 possibilities हैं. एक possibility उनमें ये हो सकती है कि आप train कर लें किसी को, someone who represents your company.
And any other idea where you can use the other cameras and the 3D cameras, and you can still use the background, the virtual background, to create that kind of pictures?
Yes, sir. वो तो साथ साथ I think training और उसमें new जो भी equipments होते हैं या कोई उस technology अगर उसमें आती है कोई बेहतर चीज़, तो I think वो आप उसमें introduce कर सकते हैं साथ साथ.
Thank you, Naila, for sharing. Any question for Naila? Now, can you see the question tab? Interesting take for sure. Yes, any feedback, any question before we close? Okay, Daniel has a question, one comment that the area you have chosen, like Peshawar, may have a very conservative culture. But I think the segment she is looking for, I think there are still enough people who are willing to experiment. So we are not looking for a mass product here at the moment.
Sir, actually living in Peshawar, I think I know what my customer segment is and what their demand is. Actually बाहर से लगता है कि ठीक है बहुत conservative है, but living here I can see कि यहाँ पे बहुत इन चीज़ों की demand है and people usually go out and they choose कि चलो हम इस्लामाबाद से ये चीज़ करवा लें या लाहौर से करवा लें. तो इससे अच्छा नहीं है कि आप पेशावर में वही सर्विस इंट्रोड्यूस कर लें, क्योंकि usually पेशावर के ही लोग बाहर से जाके ये चीज़ें करवाते हैं.
Great. Any other comment?
So I've seen the market. I've seen how people are actually they have a demand for this now कि हम ये करवाना चाहते हैं.
What stops you from starting that today? Just a question.
Um, maybe excuses. That's what I'm figuring out. Excuses and all that. जो बिल्कुल सिर सिजट के स्टार्ट में हमने देखा है कि excuses ही हैं सारे कि पढ़ाई है या मेरे अभी पेपर्स चल रहे हैं या अगर चलो मैं भी स्टार्ट करूंगी तो मेरा टाइम जो है उस पर लग जाएगा तो मैं पेपर के लिए कैसे तैयारी करूंगी फिर I have to start a firm, how will I take it, you know, but these are excuses when I actually listen to them कि चलो.
You can start one form or other. You can take things to other people's home and you can do the photography at their place, or you can create one of your room temporarily. I think there are ways to do that.
Yes, there are ways if you have the will.
Yeah.
And I think
Otherwise,
that is the reason, yes, why I'm saying कि excuses हैं क्योंकि I know if मैं सोच लूं कि मैंने करना है तो I can do it.
Yeah. I think there's always a difference between the wishful thinking and the goal setting. So we always have to avoid that trap that instead of goal setting, we might get into the wishful thinking and not to commit to that. So goal mean that will require a certain commit. But I think it's a good idea. It's a great idea, and photography, digital space, and the footprint is something to look after as well and look out for.
Yes, sir.
Reason being कि अब शायद हमारी लाइफ इतनी फिजिकल नहीं होगी जितनी वर्चुअल होगी, and particularly the people who are born now, वो शायद उनकी एग्जिस्टेंस बहुत ज्यादा डिजिटल फॉर्म में होगी, उनकी इंटरेक्शन भी डिजिटल फॉर्म में होगी, तो दे वुड लाइक टू look heroes in that. I'm not sure if
Yes.
somebody has picked up there's a new, I would say, not a disease, but a new trend which doctors have picked up, which is from a Snapchat. The kids are coming to doctors, and particularly for the cosmetic surgeon, that this is how I want to look based on different filters they are using, and they want
Yes,
their
sir.
original face to be converted into that, and that's a new thing which is coming up as a one of a challenge. So
Mhm.
that's mean people are really, because they have got a digital presence, they know that a lot of people are looking at their pictures, so they are cautious about it. And I think from a business perspective, it's a great business to have a great history of digital footprints since beginning, even as a
Yes.
toddler. So guys, thank you very much for time today. For day after tomorrow, when we will be coming, I would expect most of the people will complete that. We would like to have more and more people picking it up. हमारे सेशंस जो हैं, अब आई थिंक टोटली, इफ आई एम नॉट मिस्टेकन, हमारे 2-3 सेशंस टोटल रह गए हुए हैं, जिसमें से एक ये बिजनेस मॉडल पे ये 2 सेशंस हम करेंगे. But again, to remind you, it's not about the tool, it's not about the skill, it's about the mindset, how you use that tool, how much you practice and keep deploying that in a different situation. So I think that's a important element, that what kind of mindset we are going to build, reflect, and carry from this 6-digit program, because this program is not designed for skill set or a tool set. Those are the additional things which we add, and practically we are using ACCA competency framework, your performance objectives from the PR requirements to really build all the things once it's come to skill or tool. So, but the mindset is the one which we would like you to be challenged on, and try to see that whether you are creating excuses for yourself, you are setting goals, or it's a wishful thinking. Are you willing to commit? Can you think big enough? Can you think about even your material success or spiritual success, and you can commit to it and make an effort to that? Or you are the one who are dependent on the environment, that somebody will come and help you do those things. So you might stay waiting for a very, very long time if you are waiting for somebody else to do it for you. Uh, it would always be you yourself who is going to drive that kind of progress for yourself. So other people will only help you if they can see that commitment, and the ecosystem respond to that commitment as well. No, nobody gonna initiate that for you. You have to do that initiation for yourself. That's why business model canvas, even as a thought process mechanism and a tool in journal to help you do the decision making, is a great tool. But again, it's a mindset. Are you going to deploy that? So that's a challenge question for you. So guys, thank you very much. Stay well and stay happy. Try to practice whatever you have learned, and try to keep or build some of the questions and a hashtag like we started in the beginning, which help you to stay aligned. जहाँ पे आपको मिस अलाइनमेंट नजर आए, वो सवाल, वो हैशटैग और वो जुमले आपको वापस लेके आ सकें to your core and help you to stay aligned. Guys, thank you very much. Have a good luck.